First say your name and where you're from, and tell us which group, and quick sentences of what you talked about.
I'm Jack Cattell. I'm from First Plymouth Congregational in Englewood. Our group, way in the back, and after starting off a little bit about individual problems, our vision was that the conference become a center of a network to link together the various churches that are working on similar problems. And in order to, the other thing is that it creates, passion as far as taking on social issues, taking a stand, and actually motivating and empowering people to take stands on a lot of the various social issues that affect the region. So that was pretty much what our group came up with to be successful.
Excellent. Here, here.
I just read a little bit about what our group did. We talked about we had to have communication to get our message out to everybody. And
so I'm going to ask you to not do like a laundry list of bullet points. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to maybe give some more direction here.
Okay.
A little more direction. Okay, so your job is to be succinct and crisp. You've got about 90 seconds, and really we want the essence of the ideas. All right, so just kind of the big picture of what you talk about.
Essence. Be spirit infused to get connections on lay levels, church to church, or minister to minister with their clusters. Use a lot of high-tech things to make those connections happen and getting people excited about getting the progressive message out. Maybe doing ads with people who are computer together and can get together and infuse some extra things that we could send out to the media. And maybe adopt a sister church, learn about churches in our area that could connect together to help each other instead of having a sister church in India. We have a sister church in the conference.
Interesting, we also use the term sister church, thinking of linking churches together as communicating with each other, perhaps across the western slope, eastern slope, and the kids going back and forth, maybe having a camp presence in the western slope. They could be used some of the time. Youth was our focus, social justice issues which matter to them and matter to us, communication where the churches in the conference know what each of the other churches is doing through the website and somebody in each church sharing what they're up to. Adult retreats and getting together, maybe conference staff that would be committed to youth and committed to rural churches, maybe even off-site staff that don't even live in Denver. So we went back again and again to the idea of youth, and then at the end realized that it can't all be about the kids. And as I said, when they start when they're 15, 18, they're no good to you anymore, so you can't just count on the kids. They grow right out of that. So the rest of us are equally important, and it's got to be the broad picture.
So here's what we did 5 years ago. We became a web instead of a hub. We found a focus and we left some things behind. We took on bold messaging of our transformational stories, provided spiritual resources, and the lay people took charge.
My group told me to say ditto to everything about. Did you hear the wind blowing? I mean, oh my gosh. I thought you all were eavesdropping on our group. But the connection, communication, Nobody said Facebook page yet, but that might be helpful. And the idea that if we were on a Facebook page together, that this topic or whatever that would be energizing would emerge out of that lay people coming together and talking about it. And then the other thing we thought was a lot of our churches have lectureships. You know, what if we could do that at a conference where the topic comes up and then we get a really good speaker? I think you'd get a lot more people here. And if you're going to do a conference, you need to do it intergenerational. So it needs to be stuff for all ages, not just for us old people. Okay? So.
Our group talked mostly about connecting the conference through mission and how cool it would be if, like the Sacred Heart schools, we did a sort of a list of mission trips, and then people of all ages from our conference could sign up and meet each other and do those during the summer or whenever it worked for people, because then we could operate as the Rocky Mountain Conference. And how important it is to not only welcome other people into your home, but go see and accept and talk about other people's ways of life and to help them through that. We talked largely about that, and like someone else said, if something isn't working, you have to let it pass. Where if we have committees and things that are no longer doing their jobs, we need to either renovate and fix those or find a new way to make us function more as a group.
Amen.
I'm Rick King, and my group is way in the back around the table. I think it's distilled the essence of our comments about what we did 5 years ago is we realized it's personal, it's distinctively UCC, and we have to get out of our comfort zone. And so we talked about intentionality toward youth was a practice that people adopted. Instead of just hanging out with people you know, get out of your comfort zone, invite, get to know, and stop issuing general calls for volunteers. Instead of that, we came to specific people we had relationships with and invited them to do specific things. Became vocal about who we are and what we believe. Just shouted it from the rooftops. Became public on social media. Created programming that creates mission. And networks, developed stronger networks among congregations in the conference so that we could see each other and know, be a daily reminder to each other that we're not alone.
We came up with a 94-point plan. Back. So point one, my group is right over here, our group is over there in the corner. Basically, I've heard the prioritize piece already. And that came up at the very beginning of our conversation. We had all these great ideas on the wall, but we really wanted to distill that down to what does this all mean? And I think the group finally settled on it means covenant. There it is, amen! We got an amen! Oh, no. And yeah, you should see it, man. Like, so what our whole thing is, our denomination was formed on covenant, and we have to live that out in a way that others, whether there is a UCC that remains identified as a denomination, or if we're post-denominational and we're just hanging on to a remnant of the past, how do we show covenant to other, maybe main lines? We can say, start with the main lines, and that we can actually live that out and represent that for others, so that this becomes not just, covenant is not just for the UCC, but it's for the Christian communities, kind of throughout our cities and throughout our state and throughout our world, and that we will be the leading voice in what that means for covenant. So that's, it's still very, it's still ill-defined. What does that mean? I don't know. Don't ask me what that exactly means, other than relationships are where it's at. And we continue to engage these relationships in a very grassroots level. And that's how we see the UCC being a voice of change for the way the church operates in general in this world. Thank you. Did you get an amen yet?
Not yet.
Amen.
I'm Luke Grove from Longmont. This is my group here, and we touched on a lot of the similar things that everybody else did, but then we had a moment of lunacy or a moment of spirit. They go hand in hand, and we got to the point where we had a problem with the question. And it reads, effective and powerful, that we are an unstoppable voice for progressive Christian faith. And we thought, well, each time we were progressive, we leave somebody behind.
Amen.
And if we're going to be an unstoppable force, we have to be an unstoppable force of Christ believers or Christ followers. And regardless of our beliefs, we have to band together as Christ followers, not progressive Christians.
They were stealing it off
John Rostikas, UCC Longmont. Our group touched on a lot of the things that have been said, so I won't repeat those. But I think one that wasn't is, we look back and 5 years ago, you could argue that the Rocky Mountain Conference was kind of seen as an afterthought kind of conference in the UCC. And now we are on the forefront as this web of connected churches, transforming lives with ministries. We have attention from the national UCC. See us as a model for transforming other conferences.
There was one comment made that I just wanted to bring forth, and it was by our, I don't even know your name. What's your name? Abby. She said, in our church, we used to have this dynamic where we didn't know them and they didn't know us. And I say, today we're a conference where that could be said about a lot of us. We didn't know them. They don't know us. And that I say, in 5 years, we will have found systems and programs where we now know each other. And it's not about the how-tos, but in 5 years, we will know who each other are, and we will recognize each other. So, thank you.
Hey, look at that, we did it!
Okay, well, so thank you very much for indulging us. I'm saying us, the little design team and the board and the hosting team, in a day of what we hope was relevant, germane, yeasty, maybe a little bit fun conversation around really, really important topics. And as we leave here, I just want to acknowledge how much I appreciate, and the folks I'm working with appreciate you taking this seriously and really living out that commitment you have that brought you here to the conference this weekend. And with that, I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your journey, whatever is entailed there, that you get lots of good time for fellowship together. And I look forward, even if I am not personally back here next year, I look forward to sharing the fruits of the collective wisdom today and throughout the next several months together in setting that future direction and that destination postcard for RMC UCC. So thank you, thank you, thank you.